Guys, I want you to get your notes and paper together, and I want you to be thinking about what is it you want from this webinar. And because we're talking about the most important thing, and that is how to increase your leads, your bookings, and your sales. And because it really doesn't matter how big you are, how new you are, how old you are, what kind of trips you sell, no matter where you're located, if you don't have bookings, you're going to be out of business and pretty fast. So what we want to do is figure out how can we increase the available bookings from our available sources, whether it's online, offline, advertising. And we want to maximize those inquiries and convert those inquiries into sales. So, yeah, Sabrina, good point. Please put what it is you're looking for specifically from the kind of the marketing online, what it is you want to kind of get out of this this webinar today, and then I'll be in a better position to further customize the content just for you guys attending. So we're going to get going here, and because we've got a lot of stuff to cover, for some of it, I'm going to talk about a little bit more who I am in a second. But first, I really want to speak to you. I want to speak to what your issues are and what your needs are. And so that you can get the very most out of this. This is a workshop. I want you will leave with tools and resources that you can use tomorrow to start moving your business to a higher conversion. So some of the key questions that you might have to know if you're in the right place is, hey, how can I increase my prospects? And you can't convert someone if they're not a prospect first. And what we're going to talk about today will work both on and offline. Oh, that's a good one. And I'm not going to speak to the questions right now, but please put them in the chat and we'll come back to them later. That we will have plenty of time to answer questions later on, but please put your key issues and key challenges in that chat as we go along, okay? Hey, so of the leads that you're getting, especially on your website, how can you convert more of them into bookings? If that's one of your questions, you're in the right place. You may be getting lots of web traffic from free, organic, or paid sources, but wow, you're not getting nearly as many inquiries and bookings as you want. This is especially painful if you're paying for that traffic. Many of us are in competitive markets. Are you? And I know I am with my brother in Baja, and I've worked with just about every client I've ever worked with has got some sort of competition. And maybe your product is even better than theirs, and they're selling more than you are. Why is that? We're going to talk about that and what you can do to change that. Maybe you don't like marketing. And you're an operations person, or you're not a techie. I'm not, but I sure appreciate it and understand it. You're going to love it because what we're going to talk about today has nothing to do with technology, and this is really about psychology and connecting with other human beings. Let me see here. It says, I cannot see a chat. I'm getting a message from Sabrina, who, by the way, is my wife, who's on the line too in our other office. And she's going to be helping out here. And let me actually unmute her so that if something comes, if she's got something that she needs to say, she can do that. She says, I cannot see chat, only you. Oh, let me fix that. All panelists and attendees. Okay, I've just fixed that. Everyone can now see the questions. So thank you, Sabrina. We're going to move on. We all start somewhere. Maybe you're a small company, medium-sized company, and you really need your bookings and profits because most of us cash flow our businesses. So if this is you, then you're in the right place. How about, hey, you've been at this for a little while. You're doing okay. You're not leaps and bounds, but it's always nice to increase your bookings, and I don't care how big you are. The concept of scaling your business or doubling your business or having a 7-figure business. These are all awesome things, but unless you're increasing your bookings and your sales and your profits, you're never going to get there. So this is what we're going to talk about. Works for big and small companies. So. On the question of what you're going to get when you participate in this workshop is the following. If I can get my buttons to work. This is core. you know that you're in the customer service business. You know that, no matter what great product you have, if you don't have great customer service, you're out of business too. But we're going to talk about this key number one marketing and sales skill that you must all fully understand and really know and apply to all your marketing. And when you do, that's how you start doubling or more your bookings. And when you're doubling your bookings and you're increasing your occupancy and more trips are going out full, what happens to your bottom line? And the cool thing is that when you do this, when you do it right, your marketing costs go down too, because your cost of acquiring a lead and a client goes down too, which is really exciting stuff. And this is how you increase your profitability. As you guys know, most of you, it's not just about how many trips you sell, but are those trips going out full? Or do you have your lodge full? It's occupancy is key. So as I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about the psychology of travel shoppers and how you can have a more trusted brand, because there's a lot of choices out there and people are making choices sometimes in seconds or minutes, and they want to feel that their choices is a good one. And trust is key on that note. And we're going to be covering a lot of content today, so I'm going to be going through slides pretty quick. And because consumers are so time challenged, you often only have seconds to make an impression that people can get that you're a reputable choice, that you run good trips, and that they're making a good investment with you. And because they have a lot of choices, especially online. So, and at the end of this workshop, I'm going to give you access to my free 25-point travel website that sells success checklist. It's a self-assessment, so you can kind of see for yourself, literally in 2 minutes, based on some of the core criteria. I know the most successful tour companies and attraction and hospitality websites are using, where you stand, and specifically what are some of the areas that you need to focus on. I'm also going to give away a one free winner to my Double Your Booking Tourism Marketing Success online course, and we'll have a random drawing at the end of this, so that's always a bonus. And this is my ethical bribe to keep you guys around here, because if you don't stick around and you don't practice what I'm going to share with you, you're never going to get benefit from what I have to share. So let's do a quick overview of just who is Tourism Tim, and why am I in a position to share with you what I've been doing. But all my life I've been involved with adventure and business. It's pretty much my common element. I've been involved with a lot of different industries, and you can see there's a lot of common denominators. Oh, I had this problem before, this automatic advancing, and it's like an animation feature, and it automatically advances. So that'll keep me going faster. But you can see the common elements have always been around sales, marketing, management, and customer service. Back in '89, I started helping my brother with his fly and surfing company. There's my brother and I. This is later on, after we were struggling at first, but when you start getting more successful, you can start doing more things. We're on our way to a business meeting, riding one of his 2 Harleys. And so you don't buy Harleys unless you're pretty successful in your business. But when we started, hey, we struggled. I didn't know squat about travel and marketing, and we struggled. So what did I do? I studied what other successful companies were doing, and I started seeing their marketing, I started seeing their positioning, I started seeing their product, and I just started copying it. So why reinvent the wheel? And we had some stiff competition in Baja, Mexico. Some huge companies been around forever. We thought, oh my God, how could we ever compete against those? But we slowly but surely, we started applying this stuff, and his business started to take off. I also went to travel trade conferences and met people that were like my brother. I apologize about the slides. They're advancing by themselves. And what happened was that I realized there was all these people that were like my brother that were wearing, that maybe some of you can relate to. You're wearing your marketing hat, your sales hat, your operations hat, your product hat, your accounting hat, and on and on and on. And you weren't able to focus on some of the business development side of things, or the areas that really would move your bottom line. and increase sales. And I thought, wow, I did this for my brother. Business is really starting to take off now. Maybe I can do this for other people. So in 1994, I started doing just that, just focusing on adventure, eco, and tourism. That's all I've done since then, is really work as a teacher, trainer, consultant. Gosh, I apologize, folks. I thought I had fixed this animation slide advancement thing, but clearly they have a mind of their own. It's probably Spirit trying to tell me to pick it up, Tim. But the key thing that we've been involved with is really from concept and startup to growth, and now it's come full circle to helping people exit plan and sell their business successfully, because we've been at this over 25 years. I wanted to know that I'm still involved with the business. I had multiple meetings every week with my brother. We still run and operate the Las Animas Wilderness Eco Lodge. We're the #1 TripAdvisor specialty lodging in Baja California, out of about 280 properties. So I'm very involved with the business, not only marketing, but right now we're hiring a new general manager. You guys know what's involved with that. So I'm not just a consultant who's not engaged. I'm a consultant who's very much an owner-operator still. And I just wanted to back this up. We also just won the 5-year Certificate of Excellence Award. So I'm really proud of that. And this is just some real quick slides of some of the businesses I've worked with, the different sectors, from travel agents to lodges to destinations to DMOs. Let me back up there. I did some great work in Mongolia with USAID. I got to hang out with Richard Branson on his private island and be involved with entrepreneurship with him. And adventure media. And I don't share this, guys, to brag, but just to show you that I've been around the block for a while, and there's something that comes from decades of experience working with hundreds of different tour operators and lodges and attractions and travel agents that are just like you. Most of them small to medium businesses trying to make a living doing what they love. So we're going to get a real poll here of what's going on with you guys. We're going to launch this first poll here. And I want you guys to fill out your answers on what is your biggest website lead and sales conversion challenge. That if you could just take a moment and just put your answer in there, and so that we can further refine, make sure that what we're covering today is in alignment with your biggest pain points. Because, at the end of the day, again, you can have the best tour in the world, the best pricing, but if we're not converting those people who are interested in your offering into a paying client, how can they possibly ever experience it? So just 5 more seconds and we're going to close this down. Let me end the poll and show the results. So you guys can see that we haven't got a huge crowd here today, but that's fine. But as a percentage, clearly converting leads into bookings and sales is #1, followed by website retention, duration, and website traffic, which I consider marketing. Marketing is about channeling quality leads, whether it's to the phone, email, or your website. And sales is about getting them to give you money. And I would argue that you can have all the best marketing in the world, but if you're not converting them into money, you're out of business. So we're all on the same page. And the good news is we are going to be covering just that. Let's stop that and continue on. Hopefully you guys can see my screen here. So we're going to get into some real facts that I've absolutely seen, and hopefully some of you guys can relate to too, that these are your realities as well about the tourism business that we're in, especially around marketing. Is that these days, and I've been around long enough, folks, and I was in tourism business long before the internet. And so I've seen it all, but the exciting thing is that the majority of travel shopping, especially for that important new person who doesn't know you from Adam, is being done online. The research is all being done online. And so that is why your website has to be one of your top marketing tools to communicate who you are, and more importantly, why someone should consider giving you money. Does that make sense? And if it's not, if you don't make this your primary thing, you're not going to even be in the game for long. I have this analogy. Think of about what are the most important small hinges that swing the biggest doors. And your website is one of those critical hinges in your business. That has to generate quality leads, and it has to generate the phone calls and the emails that you convert into bookings. So another important fact is that, and this is an illusion that I see so many people engaged in, is that they think that, wow, Tim, if I just, I got this great product and we got this great offering and everybody, goes on it, loves it. And they think if I just had more website traffic, if I just, spent more money on AdWords or Facebook or whatever, that I would grow my sales. It's not true, because you can have all the traffic in the world, but if it's not converting, it's just a huge waste of your time and your money, and it's devastating and it's frustrating. So believe me, I'm all for traffic. I love traffic and quality traffic, and this is how businesses scale to double, triple, seven-figure businesses or more. But and that is by pouring on more traffic only after they get their conversion rates up. Because when you get your conversion rates up, you can figure out what your cost of acquiring a client is, which goes lower and lower and lower as you increase your conversion rate, and then you know how much you can afford to spend to get new clients. And I spent quite a few years in the internet marketing world with some real thought leader big shots in the internet marketing world, helping them start a tour company. That's how I got to hang out with Richard Branson. And these internet marketing millionaires, this is how they did it. They figured out what their cost of acquiring a customer is. They worked on lowering that cost. And once they had that down to the best possible level, they would pour on the traffic, and they'd have these $1 million businesses quick. I'm not saying that's what we're going to do here in tourism, but the concept is the same. So what I want to share with you guys is that really the first step of the most simple system for online marketing success that is going to help you guys on the side of booking conversions. So I hope that you guys are with me. If you guys are with me, why don't you give me a thumbs up in the chat window that you could hear me. That this makes sense. All right, we got raised hands. I like that even better. I forget the cool tools that are available in this. All right, we got some raised hands. All right, excellent. Thank you all. All right, yay! I love technology when it works, and when it doesn't, oh my gosh, right? So we know that your website is that super critical hinge that swings the biggest door of revenue potential for you. And so I created this thing I call a travel website that sells. Not one that's the prettiest in the world, not the one that is the fastest in the world. These are all important, but I want one that generates leads and sales. That's really my primary thing, and that's why I created this simple thing called the travel website that sells. And it's you're going to hear me almost sound pedantic here, that I'm going to be kind of going over the same theme over and over again from different angles. Is that it's a site that consistently generates predictable leads and bookings with you, and without more traffic, and so that when we do start putting on more traffic, it becomes even more lucrative. And when you do this, when you start increasing your conversion rate, what happens is, and I mentioned this earlier, is your cost of acquiring clients goes down. So your marketing cost actually gets lowered. Let's say you are buying traffic right now. So if you're able to get one sale out of right now, let's say you're getting one sale for every 100 visitors to your website, and what if you increased it to the astronomical rate of 2 people per 100? You've doubled your bookings, and you didn't spend a dime more on marketing. So 100% increase just just that's what this is all about. And so your cost of acquiring a client gets lower and lower and lower, which is exciting, because then if you are buying traffic or you're doing SEO or any of that stuff, you're actually your investment, your return on capital gets better and better and better. And a travel website that sells is one where you don't have to answer the same stupid questions over and over and over and over again. And people are so enrolled with who you are and have such trust in your brand that when they do call or email, your time spent answering questions and actually getting their money, taking their credit card, is a lot less. And I'm going to show you a tour operator in Alaska and what she shared with me later on, and specifically what she said about, wow, I am spending a fraction of the time on the phone answering questions and far more time taking bookings, which she loved. And you're going to see how it's helped her go more than a 7-figure business. So I'm going to share with you my 3-part system for getting that travel website that sells. So that's the first step. And I hope you guys got your pen and paper and pencils ready, because this is where we're going to get into the meat of the matter. I'm going to give you the step-by-step exactly how to do this first part and of creating website sales conversion. And that the first part is, number one, you do have to have some traffic, no matter how well your site converts. If you don't have some traffic, you're out of business too. So let's just assume you've got some website traffic. What we know is if they're coming to your website, chances are you've targeted them pretty well based on your location and your activity you're offering. So we know that there's some interest. That's number one. Number two, the second part of this is website retention. And what that means is that the bounce rate, hopefully most of you guys know what the bounce rate is. That's the time. Bounce rate, as defined by Google, is those people who stay on your site less than 10 seconds. So if they're on less than 10 seconds, how can you possibly convince them that you're a good choice? So first, number one, traffic. 2 times multiplied by retention. And then we're going to multiply those 2 figures again by conversion, meaning how many of those people who visited your website, stuck around, actually booked a trip. It increases. This is how you have these doubling or tripling or more of your bookings, is through this 3-level mathematical equation. You get these exponential increases, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. Again, website traffic times website retention times website conversion equals these exponential increases. And I want to show you guys in a second here what this actually looks like in a real scenario situation when you do have these, you apply this formula. So I've created this little spreadsheet here, and I hope that you guys can see it. It's my tourism marketing sales conversion improvement calculator, and I shared this a little bit a couple of days ago on Tour Operator United. If you guys are a member of that on Facebook, I went into this a little bit, just at the first level, so you guys could see. If you're not a member of Tour Operator United on Facebook, I encourage you guys to join. Great online community of tourism professionals helping each other out. But let's look here at the top. So the first row here is our current baseline position. And the columns here, the first one is the number of monthly visitors. I'm putting at 1,000, and that's just an example. Our current bounce rate is 70%, which means only 30% of the people are staying more than 10 seconds. And we have the conversion rate of only 1%, so 1 out of 100. And then an average sales price or profit of $500. And when you average that out, your current bookings down here under current bookings are 3 a month, $1,500 in revenue, or $18,000 a year. So that's our baseline. You guys with me? So now let's go to if we made some slight improvements using my formula of lowering bounce rate and increasing your sales conversion. So here it says future marketing improvements. Again, I want you to notice, did I change the number of monthly visitors? No, I did not. It's still 1,000. I've lowered the bounce rate only 10% to 60%, which is still pretty high. And I've increased the sales conversion an astronomical amount by 1/2 of a person. So what we're getting 1.5 sales per 100, still the same price. Look what happened. That small increment of lowering bounce rate times a slightly higher conversion rate, we doubled our monthly bookings, revenue, and annual increase. Not bad, right? 18,000, 36,000, not too bad. Let's look at some additional changes. Let's look at what if we lowered our bounce rate a little bit more and increased our sales conversion a little bit more. In this example, look at this, same baseline as above, but our now, and same amount of traffic here in our future marketing, but now we've lowered our bounce rate to 40%, meaning that only 60% of the people that are coming to your website are sticking around for more than 10 seconds. So is 40% a reasonable bounce rate? Absolutely. Now you'll see that we've increased our sales conversion again, the phenomenal rate of 2 per 100. Can you do 2 per 100? I think so. If you've got a decent product, service, or pricing, and you treat people with respect. I got a question here. Is the baseline just using the homepage, or should we do them for each web page? Excellent question, Maggie. I am doing this mostly since most of the people come in on your homepage. I think this is the homepage bounce rate is your most important metric that you should be gauging. That was a great question, Maggie. Thank you. So you should, but I would start there, and then I would do an overall average bounce rate. But so bounce rate is one metric. Sales conversion is another one. Some of you got the ability to do it through online reservation and shopping systems. Other of us do it the old-fashioned way, and we just keep track on our conversion rates, both our websites, our phone calls, our emails. So let's continue on. But the important thing here I want you guys to see is that in this example, we've lowered the bounce rate to 40%. We've got 2 per 100, same price point. Look at this. We've increased revenues by 300%. We've gone from 18,000 to 72,000 by just making a couple little changes in some core metrics. We've increased our revenue by 54,000. And I just want you guys to see some real numbers. So that, if you had fewer monthly visitors, or your price point was lower, or higher, the math still works out. The key thing is that in this scenario now, number 3, we kept the bounce rate at 40%, which actually is not too bad, believe it or not. I've looked at an awful lot of metrics. That's not too bad, but now we've increased our conversion to 3 per 100. And when you apply some of the things that I'm going to show you today and introduce you to later on, having these sort of sales conversion numbers or more are very reasonable. And look at this. We've had a 500% increase on extra 90,000. How many of you can use an extra 90,000 in revenues? So let's get to the meat of the matter. What if we know that bounce rate stinks, and it's something we don't like? We want to lower our bounce rate, and we want to increase our conversion. What are some of the things that hurt that? And so let's take a look at that. Trust. This is probably the number one thing that people they don't know you. They don't trust you. They're not sure if you're a good source, and they've got to make a choice on where they're going to spend their money and how they're going to spend their money. So that is the number one thing. And a little bit later, I'm going to show you how to increase trust very quickly. A lot of websites, frankly, stink. They're just not crystal clear on what it is you offer or where. And especially many of us who have multiple itineraries and multiple places, people come to your website and they get confused and they leave. Seth Godin, the famous marketer, had a saying in one of the books that I read years ago that says, on website marketing, don't make your visitors think. If they have to think very much, they're gone. Again, same thing. They can't find what they're looking for. So you have to be crystal clear on what you're offering, and it has to be right up near the top of your homepage. Especially these days with so many people on mobile, they're only seeing just a fraction of your website, and we have to be super clear on what it is we offer, and it needs to be right at the top of the page. and again, this is a problem. We're not going to get into design too heavily, but we're going to focus really more on that trust factor. But I wanted to offer some other things that impede retention and hurt bounce rate. Design does matter. You can't. Although I have seen some pretty ugly sites that are done by the owner operator, and I'm gonna introduce you to one a little bit later on, who says I'm a do-it-yourself woman, and I did my own website, and I know it doesn't look that very good, but wait till you see some of her numbers. It's pretty exciting. We are thought leaders, folks, in our area. People are looking for us, right? We're guides, right? We're supposed to be the experts at our region, our sport, making advice on places to travel, or whether you're a lodging, tour operator, travel agent. People are looking to us for our authority, and I know that a website that is focused on educating people and entertaining people are going to have a higher retention rate. They're going to have a higher repeat rate. I mean, and then I hope some of you guys are subscribers to Travel Business Success Radio podcast, or been to my YouTube channel, which is pretty robust. Why do I do it? Because I want to educate and entertain you guys. I want you to see that I'm not just sell, and that I've got value and information, and not only myself, but I look to other thought leaders to contribute to your success, because I'm a tour operator too. I'm a lodge, involved with a lodge and as well. And I know that it's critical to always be learning. I am constantly learning. And this last one is just probably the most important thing, is that your website is not responsive and optimized for a mobile device. And I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of our websites, when it goes into the mobile version, even if it is mobile responsive, may not be putting the thing that you want at the top of the screen first. There are ways you can order the presentation. So if you haven't looked at your website on a mobile phone in a while, I highly recommend you do that, because you'd be surprised on sometimes what's showing up, or more importantly, what's not showing up on your mobile thing. One of the online booking agencies that I've done some work for and did some training for, I did this study this year, and I thought this was just fascinating. The poor metrics around these websites weren't clear what they did. We're going to talk about trust, and testimonials are one of those things that gets higher levels of trust, and that people didn't have contact information, or it was difficult to find it. No wonder people have a hard time finding things. So let's now look at the other side of the equation. Let's look at what turns these travel shoppers into buyers. We know people desperately need what we have to offer. There's no shortage of travelers or people who want to do vacation or that. That's not an issue. They're going to buy someone, so why not get them to buy you? And what do we need to do to shift them and the multitude of choices and get you at very minimum for starts in that narrow list, that top three, and so that we can move them towards a purchase. As I mentioned earlier, I've been at this for a long time. And as in looking at this concept of conversion, before the internet, during the internet, after the internet, I'm always looking at what gets them to move towards being a buyer. And really, it really is about psychology. It's really about developing the trust. So I wanted to run. We're going to launch another poll here, and I want you guys to see for yourself. Let me see here. Share results. Relaunch poll. Let me see here. I got to do the right poll here. Poll. Oh, here we are. Poll number 2. I want you guys to think about this when you're making a purchase decision. I don't know whether it's going on a trip, going to a restaurant, going to see a movie, purchasing a car. It really doesn't matter. Even yourself choosing a hotel or an operator to go with. What influences your decisions? What do you look for to know that you're making a good investment? Because we're all consumers too. We all buy stuff. And so it's really important that you guys understand what influences your purchasing decisions, because guess what? It's the same for people who are shopping for our stuff too. And so let's just finish up in 5 more seconds. Come on, there's 7 of us who are busy doing something. 6 of us are busy doing something else or too lazy to vote. Come on, your opinion matters. I'm going to close this down in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to share the results. So you guys are going to find this very interesting. Guess what? Look at this. What was clearly a winner? There's a lot more people on this call than voted. So I don't know what's wrong with the rest of you all. But clearly, of you, the majority of you, 88% consumer opinions, voted for online reviews and ratings, followed by clearly referrals from friends and associates, and coming in third, branded websites. No surprise there, as you guys are going to see, because there was the Nielsen company, a famous survey company, respected around the world, asked that very same question. And you can see they had a pretty nice sampling from around the world. Look at the results of this survey, and more importantly, think about the results that you guys just proved. So the question was, what's the most trusted form of advertising? And the scale is trust completely and somewhat to don't trust at all, much or at all. Look what came in clearly at the top. Recommendations from people I know. You guys voted the same. Consumer opinions posted online. Number 2. And as you can see, it drops down substantially. What are consumer opinions posted online? These are reviews, folks. This is how influential they are. And then it drops off from there. Editorial content, newspaper articles, branded websites. And look, it just goes down, 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 down. Let me go back to that. Sorry about that. And it just drops off completely. So my opinion has always been like that, wow, if these are the top 2 or 3 areas that influence and create the most trust, and we know that trust is what influences our purchasing decision, shouldn't we be spending the majority of our efforts on our marketing and communication in these top 2 or 3 quadrants? And that is the secret of some of the stuff that I'm going to give you, is tapping into that psychology of what influences people to make that, when they got that credit card out and you know they're going to buy something, to get them to choose you. Are you guys with me? Thumbs up. You guys hear me okay? Cool. Excellent. We got a raised hand. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Angela. Maggie. So it's just really important to you all. And that's why I want to thank you for participating in the polls, because I want you to see, based on your own decision-making criteria, what you chose is really no different than what the global consumer uses. And it doesn't really matter what you're selling, but it happens to work particularly well in tourism and travel attractions, because frankly, a lot of these people, they don't know you, or they've never done your activity, or they don't know that region, and it goes on and on and on. And this is where trust becomes more and more important. So let's figure out, how can you tap into those top 3 trusted forms of advertising, and why trust is so critical in this. So let's get into this. So in the world of trust, for you guys that like to read, I highly recommend this book, The Psychology of Persuasion. It's called Influence, by Dr. Robert Cialdini, a professor at Arizona State, who did this study quite a few years ago. They were just trying to look at what moved people in a certain direction, what got them to do things, and what could they consistently track and predict based on human behavior. And it was just this fascinating study, never intended to be anything having to do with marketing. But what they found out was that there were so many predictable things around human consumers and this thing around trust, that some of the top marketers in the world started using it. And this is over 20 years ago. And it shows up now everywhere. But one of the number one things, and you guys proved it through your own vote, was the power of social proof, and that is a recommendation from a friend or associate, or opinion or review online. That is known as social proof. And so since we know that's the most influential thing, we need to figure out how can we get more social proof into our marketing. And word of mouth, when someone talks to you about, makes a recommendation, oh yeah, it's a great restaurant, you should go see that movie, or it's an awesome trip. This is one of the most important forms of social proof. I'm going to show you how it shows up in a lot of different ways. And social media, wasn't even around when I started, and many of you others possibly on this call. The internet and social media didn't even exist. But the cool thing about it is social media, especially in review sites, is nothing more than hundreds of millions of people sharing their opinions and recommendations. And we now know scientifically from your own poll and the Nielsen study that opinions shared online is the number 2 most influential form of and trusted form of advertising. So what do people want to know very quickly? What creates that trust, that social proof very quickly? And by the way, tourism consumers are super time challenged. You literally have seconds to convince them to communicate trust, because with the whole thing around bounce rate, we know that a lot of people come to your site and leave quickly, so we have to communicate trust and social proof super fast. So here's what that all travel consumers want to know. I don't care if you're a provider of travel, you're lodging, you're an attraction, you're a travel agent recommending, or even a destination. These are the big 3 that all travel consumers want to know about you right away. That someone traveled before them, meaning that you have experience and that you just didn't start last week. And even if you did, I'm going to show you some ways to get around that. 2, they want to know that they had a good time. I mean, we are in the hospitality business, right? We are in the customer service providing these incredible experiences. And so you want to make sure, of course, that your customer service is good, because all the marketing conversion in the world doesn't do crap if your quality of your trips are poor. And 3, more than anything else, nobody died, meaning that safety is the number 1 priority in what you do, and people feel safe in what we're offering, and that we're communicating that in our marketing long before before they book a trip. So the big 3 is that and the goal of the big 3 in communicating is exactly that: trust, clarity in what you offer, helpful information. These are some of the elements now I'm going to give you that help reinforce this trust factor, that help reinforce it very quickly, and lowers your bounce rate. So here's three key points, and we've looked at the reverse of this, or the inverse of this. Also, some other areas that increase lead conversion and bookings is call to action. People, if let's say you've got a trip that leaves in 2 days or in 3 hours, if you were able to communicate that, especially if you're in a business where you're doing tours where every day and you every day, or an attraction, you have to fill it up. Calls to action, scarcity are some of those elements that were in Cialdini's book, Influence, that were absolutely proven to move people off their butts to put in their credit card. So let's look at those top 3 forms of trust and authority, and how can you create that really quick, and how can we tap into the word of mouth and the reviews. So, and I'm going to be reinforcing some of these concepts of what creates these elements, and then we're going to go into actually showing you how to create your own, something I call the credibility statement, which allows you to get that trust very, very quickly. So what we know is we want to focus on word of mouth and social media reviews. And so, sorry, the slide just jumped ahead on me. So word of mouth, social media reviews, and here's just a small list of the places that we know and use that are important, and there's more. And then editorial content actually came in number 3 in the Nielsen study. This is actually an important thing. Remember I talked about you guys being an authority? You can have people create content for you. You could be interviewed, or you can be a content creator. Again, you are the key thing about this editorial content is that you are seen as an authority on your trip, your region, your offering, your excellence in your food tours, your bike tours, you name it, it really doesn't matter. People are looking for how to create, how to see you as an authority. So let's look at the formula for how to create that trust and that credibility in 7 seconds. And this comes out of my original course that I've had out for years called Tourism Marketing Success, that is now evolving into a newer, updated version. And you guys are actually have an opportunity to be a part of that. But again, how do we create that trust, that authority in 7 seconds or less? And again, remember the big 3, the experience, quality, safety, social proof. These are a part of what I call the defining credibility statement. And this is the most simplest, concise way that I have found and proven to create the big 3 and reinforce social proof in 7 seconds or less that you can use in your website. And I'm going to give you that formula right now, or in just a second. You're going to see it's pretty simple, but you have to have these elements and as part of it, and then you have to learn where to place it and how to use it in your marketing message. So we talked about the big 3: experience, quality, and safety. So here we go. It's a 2-part formula, and I'm a big believer in simple systems and formulas that are scalable and applicable to any tourism, tourism, hospitality situation that anybody can use. So here's the first part. Okay, remember this. Get ready. It's super simple. Part 1: number of happy guests. Difficult, huh? I got a question that says, how do we vote? Did I stop sharing I hope I stopped sharing the poll. Did I stop sharing the poll? Are you guys still seeing the poll? Or are you guys seeing my slide? Let me bring this back up here. What are you guys seeing? Are you seeing a 2-part defining credibility statement, part 1? Give me some happy guests only. Yes. Okay. Cool. Thank you, Jenny. All right. Cool. So yeah. So the first part of this defining credibility statement is number of happy guests. And I realize that some of us are just starting. We all just started at some point in time, but you really should think about it as number of happy guests. And then let's just say maybe you haven't had but 50. That's okay. I'm going to show you how we can leverage that a little bit more in a second. But part 1, number of happy guests. Part 2, how many years in business, or the founding year of your business. So number of happy guests plus the number of years in business or your founding year. And this is the mathematical formula. And when you combine those 2 together, it establishes trust fast, because clearly if you've just started last week and you're hoping for your first client, it's not going to really do a lot for establishing that you're a trusted, safe, experienced brand with safety as a top concern. So let's take a look at some examples. I want you to see how simple this is. And essentially, this is the same defining credibility statement, just reversed and expressed in 2 different ways. Over 20 years, 3,000 happy guests. Or, so you can see it's really, really simple, but clearly we've been around for a long, long time, and we've had a few happy guests. Let's look at some other examples. You can see that this is this particular first option. Well, the second one was it's actually a camper van rental company client I've worked with, and we call them Happy Campers. And clearly they've been around for a while, and they've had a lot of happy guests. Here's another way to express credibility, to express experience and trust. You know, in this first example, I didn't even mention how many happy guests, but hey, guess what? We're the #1 TripAdvisor specialty lodging. You don't get to be that unless by just not having lots of social proof. Here's another way to do it. And in this second example, I've added a degree of what I call a defining element. It tells a little bit about who we do, what we do. Happens to be for my Bahar Ventures, my brother's company. We do eco adventure travels. So that's some examples. So let's now look at some more examples and also some locations. Here's a client I work with, a tour operator in Bangkok. Super competitive environment. And you can look at it right here at the top. Since 2004, thousands of happy guests. Is there any question of what they do and where they do it? Look at that, boom. Defining headline. This is called a location statement. There's other credibility elements on this page. I'm not going to get into them now. Maybe if you guys are looking closely, you'll see some of them. Some things that reinforce trust. Here's my brother's site. This is actually an older picture. I should update this because now the new one says right here, it says 5-year award, and it's our TripAdvisor Certificate of Excellence 5 years in a row, which we just got this year. But there it is, since 1889, thousands of happy guests, right at the top of the page. And we're going to talk about location in a second as to why would we put it there. Here's a river rafting company. Do you think some consumers have some issues or concerns around safety and river rafting? You betcha, and rightly so. People have died in river rafting. I've worked with a lot of river rafting companies. And so in this particular situation, here's a company that's been around since 1972. 280,000 people connected to the rivers. Think they got some credibility? You think they're establishing trust fast? Boom. Right away, homepage, header, upper left-hand corner. Look at this thing. We invented this. We call this a credibility icon. And in my program, I teach you guys how to create these other elements. 40 plus years, best safety record, 5-star. Was that an award they got from the industry? No, we created that ourselves because it's the truth. And I want to maximize our trust, especially if any of you guys involved with any sort of travel, tourism, or destination there's any sense of perceived or real danger. That's a subjective thing. People just going and trying something new sometimes is considered, they think it might be dangerous. Even eating a different type of food, you never know. Here's another example. Not only a credibility statement, boom, right at the top, but they put their certificate of excellence right there in the header. Why? Because it generates trust fast. And you guys know now, I hope that you're really getting this, that generating trust, that social proof should be core to everything you do, because it's what influences people to feel comfortable about making that purchase decision. Look at this. This is on the Why Choose Us page. Again, we'll talk later on, deeper at a later time, about how to reinforce your trust and your social proof and where else you need to have it. This is another way of expressing it. This was the river rafting company. Here's some other examples that I pulled off the internet. I thought were good. They used some graphics and they kept it really simple and clean. Family owned. For a lot of people, it's an influential factor. It does generate trust. Here's another one. Since 1998, they telling about what they do and with whom and since when. These are forms of credibility statements. So let's talk about where you should place these things, because this is super important. Remember your visitors. Are they time challenged? Yes, they are. Are the vast majority of more than 50% of travel shoppers now using a mobile device? Yes, they are. So you better be damn sure that your defining credibility statement is in a very conspicuous, easy to see place, especially if you're looking at a small screen. So above the fold, first viewable screen, whether it's a desktop, tablet, or mobile device, you want to make sure that your credibility, your places are near the top of the page. And ideally in a common website header element. I know I talked with Maggie about this not too long ago. Hey, Sue Randolph, I just noticed that you're on this call. How cool. And about the importance of having it on a common element on the website header, because you never know when someone's going to come, where they're going to come into your website. And ideally, as Maggie pointed out earlier, yeah, most people come in on your homepage, but if you've got other pages that are indexed in Google, or you're paying for advertising, driving them to a particular tour or trip, you want to be able to express credibility, trust really fast, and every page. So that's where I like it at the top of the page in a common header. And we're going to put it in the upper left-hand corner. Does someone know why we're putting it in the upper left corner? Who can tell me that? What's the answer to that? And I know some of you already have seen my stuff, so you know why I pushed that. Can we get an answer here? Yeah, Sabrina, I know that we're running a little bit long here, and I hope that you guys will stick with me. We're getting near the end. But there we go, left to right. Yeah, most English speakers read top to bottom, left to right. Where else can you put it? It should be in the body copy. It actually turns out being super important to have it everywhere. I mentioned this earlier, and I've had a fair amount of people over the years ask me this question. Hey, Tim, we're just starting, and we've only been in business a year. We haven't got awards. We haven't got tons of clients. And so, but most all of you got into the business because you had some personal life experience that gave you an expertise in that area, that region, that sport, that affinity that you were leveraging and bringing to bear into your business. What about your team members? What about your suppliers and associates? They also have collective experience and that you could combine and now become part of your credibility statement. So this is a way for you to be ethical and honest, but to really showcase your team's effort or your life efforts. And let me show you how that looks. This also can be awards, licenses, life experiences I've mentioned earlier. That can all be part of these elements that support building social proof and trust fast. Let's take a look at some examples. Here we have over 22 years of, and here's the key word, combined seacocking expertise. 47 years combined Alaska outdoor experience. The vast majority of people I work with and I know in this industry brought experience and expertise to the table beforehand in a certain area or region. A lot of us may not have experience actually running a tour as a professional, but we had some expertise, or we brought in to our team people who know more about it than us. Do you have to be a tour operator and be an expert on your sporty region? No, you hire people who are, and you leverage their experience. Here's some other ways to express it. Look at this, EMT certified, award-winning lodge. And these are ways to combine and showcase the best of what your team is all about. So, are there other ways to communicate social proof and in your website marketing? Absolutely. There's at least 10 that we regularly use in our on and offline marketing to reinforce trust, experience, safety, and we use them in different ways. We use them in different places. I just wanted to give you guys a deep dive into one of them today, and so that you guys could see for yourself, and based on your own survey and the international survey, you can see that trust is key, and we need to keep reinforcing that because people have a lot of choices. But when you do this, you're going to save time on your marketing, you're going to lower your marketing costs, and this has helped businesses scale double, triple, quadruple, well into 7 figures. This has been the secret weapon because you've got to learn how to convert. I shared with you earlier that I was going to talk with you about a tour operator in Alaska who's pretty independent and likes to do things herself, and she says it herself in a video you can see on my website. But she started applying the same exact thing, step one of what I gave you, and some of the 8 or 9 other steps. in her marketing to communicate trust, authority, social proof, and safety. And she was actually a little, she almost didn't believe it, that her sales started climbing as fast as they did, because she said, it seems so simple. It seemed too simple, but I did it and I was amazed what happened. And so her sales kept going up and up. And she'd already been in business maybe about 5 or 6 years, had been struggling. But I stay in touch with Doreen. Maybe some of you've heard, I've interviewed her on Travel Business Success at least twice, because she's been a superstar. I love to see, can do case studies and hear how people have applied this and what it's meant to their business, their bottom line, and their quality of life. But this is what that meant to Doreen: $192,000 in additional revenue for her over that 18 months. And then she kept going and kept increasing their sales. And she's the one I mentioned earlier that she said, wow, I spend so much less time on the phone answering questions and converting. People are finding our website, they're calling or emailing, and they're much quicker to book. And she loved it. And I said, well, how are you tracking your booking? What, you guys got an online booking system? What sort of technology are you using to track things? She said, no, we're really old school. She says, I just got this form I use, and then I put down the date of the contact, was their info sent, what was their name, what were they interested in, and some notes. And then when they book, I just write book over their listing, and I know who I still need to follow up with. So you can see booked. And so during this study of over 3 years, it was worth about $300,000 in additional income for Doreen. And that was done 5 years ago. I'd like to launch another poll here, because I think that this is an important thing here. And for you guys to be thinking about. Let me close this. This is the last poll, and we'll be wrapping up here pretty soon. Gosh darn it. If I can just get the polls to do their thing. Oh, here we are. God, these are challenges on my part. All right, here we go. So we saw some numbers here on what the bookings were worth to Doreen on increasing of things, and she had these huge increases in revenue over sales. But I want you guys to think about, I've been talking about, I gave you guys an example of increasing bookings 100%, but let's be super conservative. Are you guys not seeing this poll, this survey, this poll here that I just launched? Because I'm not getting any participation yet. Wait, here we go. Yeah, so the question is, what would be the gross dollar value to you if you increased your bookings by just 10% in 1 year? Just 10%. Think about that. And let's just take a few more minutes, because I want to put this in perspective, and give you guys real practical situations. I know it's possible to increase revenues 100%, 200% or more over time. Does it happen overnight? No. But it's a cumulative thing that builds on itself. But what if you just did 10% 1 year? What would it be worth to you? So we're going to, come on, you guys, finish up here. You don't see the poll? Well, we got some poll people coming in, so maybe it's on your other screen. Sorry, my assistant wife just came into my office and said she didn't see the poll, but I appreciate those of you who do, and we're going to wrap it up in 5 more seconds. Come on, you guys who are sitting in the waiting on this webinar but not participating, come on. All right, we're going to finish this up. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so let's share the results. And pretty exciting stuff. We can see that even on the lowest side of things, if you increase your sales just 10%, 1,000 to 5,000 a year, the majority of you coming in number, actually, coming in number, the highest rating came in, sorry, let me back up here for a second. I've got my slides showing, but look at this, 10 to 20,000. Here's a couple people, 70 to 100,000 if you increase your revenue that much. That is significant. So I want you guys put this in perspective of really, is this worth it for you? Is it worth it for you guys to look at your marketing messaging and look at it from a very conservative standpoint that, wow, if I was able to increase my bookings just 10%, what would it be worth to you? So you can see we got some real numbers here. And so That's why, but think about it. What if you did 10% every year? What if you did 20%, 30%? Um, if you if you grew your business 30% every year, um, in less than three, let me see, a little over 3 years, you will have doubled the size of your business. You will have doubled your size because every year you're growing it an additional amount over the previous year. But I just want to be super conservative and just look at 10%. You know, if we can do 20, 30, 50, 100% or more, awesome. Then we start getting into other issues around scaling your business and dealing with management and issues. But those are fun problems to have. When you have more revenue, you have more choices, you can hire more people. So that's another webinar for another time. But I did promise you guys a checklist that you guys can go see for yourself. What are some of the top areas that I know the most successful tour operators, attractions, hospitalities, and tourism professionals use on their website. So there it is, tinyurl.com. And I'm going to follow up with you guys with an email and send you this link too. But I highly recommend you do this if you haven't done it. It's really, and it really will take you 2 minutes, and you will get a score immediately when you're done. And this is kind of what it looks like. This is an old version, but yeah, you know, you're going to get a screen that kind of looks like that when you go there. And let's do a quick review, and then we're going to do some Q&A. And I promised a free drawing. We're going to, for those that stuck around, and then the cool thing about the webinar platform that I'm using tells me who stuck around and who didn't. So only the people who stuck around to the very end are eligible for this free access to my new W booking course. So let's kind of review the key things. Is that if we lower our bounce rate, we're going to get more bookings. We're going to get higher occupancy because we had more bookings, and we're going to lower our marketing costs, and we're going to have more profit because we have more trips and more heads and beds and more butts and seats. We're going to make more money and more profit and have more fun. We talked about the power of social proof. You guys participated in that yourself. You saw international results and a best-selling book on this very topic around social proof and trust, and just how critical it is in your marketing message. So this defining credibility statement, it really is, it is the first of about 8 steps. I know a slide earlier said 10, but it's really about 8 steps to create this social proof super fast. As I mentioned, there are other steps and other methodologies that are equally simple, but super important about how you utilize them and how you integrate it in. I mean, I'd be lying to you if I said, hey, you guys just put up a new defining credibility statement and your business will double overnight. It will improve. And if you do nothing else, you're gonna see a difference as long as you're tracking it. But there is more. There is more to creating this trust and social proof and safety experience. And it's how you integrate it into your marketing that makes a difference. And with your permission, I'd like to guys just to show you what I've come up with to help educate you guys so that you can have experiences like Doreen did and my brother has, and so many people around the world who want to, or just like you, they want to grow their business, and they need a simple, step-by-step, non-complex, non-marketing, non-techie way to do this. What I've decided to do is I have an online course, but I hope you guys can see that I have enthusiasm and passion for the subject because I am just like you. I'm actively involved as a tour operator at a lodge manager and just involved with this on a day-to-day basis. And I still coach and consult with clients. And so I decided to do a live webinar series that's going to start at the end of this month. It'll be a 3-part live webinar series. There'll also be checklists. There'll be a step-by-step guide. There'll be some other bonuses. But the key thing is I'm going to do live webinars where we're going to take a deep dive into all 8 parts of what creates proof in social proof and trust in all of your marketing, but focused on online. But you're going to see how you can use it offline too, to help you guys start increasing your conversion and lowering your bounce rate. So you can start having these increases in sales and not having to spend more money on advertising or when you do, it's a lot more effective. So 3-part live webinar starts at the end of July. We're going to go take a deep dive, as I mentioned before. We're going to focus on what you've learned from this course, this training today, how to get your best clients selling for you, because we know word of mouth is the very best thing you can do. And yes, testimonials are part of that, but it's just a part of it. And how you integrate it into your marketing has a profound difference on results. I'm gonna talk about how to capture more of the people that are coming to your site but leaving, and you can turn more of those people into leads so that you can convert them into strangers into friends and friends into customers over time. We're going to talk about how you can increase your reviews in all social and all channels, which is core, and getting referral business or business that comes from social media reviews is awesome because they book fast and they book bigger. And I love getting bookings from reviews and referrals. We're gonna. I know most of us on this call, including me, are not techies. We do not do our own websites, and for those that we have to rely on our webmasters who are brilliant at HTML and coding and this and that, and God love them, but they don't often understand that what the website's there to do. It's to sell trips, or book tours, or put heads in beds, or butts in seats, or people in your attraction, or even visiting your destination. And so I want to help you guys work with your webmasters, and you guys going to have content you can share with your webmaster and other people on your team that will help you get them engaged with understanding these core principles and getting them involved with helping part of your marketing. So this is and I had someone tell me just the other day how unbelievably simple and easy this guide was. It's really step by step. I know we're all time challenged, so if this stuff is not super easy to consume, it won't be consumed. But when you guys go through this guide, and also you're going to start seeing immediately how you can do this. And there's also a cool worksheet in there. There's the checklist that comes in this course. There's the live trainings, which will all be recorded so that whether you make the calls or not, but you can share them with your staff as key, or your webmaster, and get them involved. We're going to have a small online community where we're engaged in helping each other out. This is something we did years ago that was a big winner, and after we gotten into the course a little bit together and we started applying this to our marketing, you guys understand this, and we're all in this together, where you can volunteer to put your website on the hot seat, and we as a group of tourism professionals committed to each other's success actually help go from we are peer teachers, and we help observe and help each other improve our marketing and applying what you're going to learn from this course. As I mentioned earlier, everything is recorded live, and so the recordings will be fully available. I also am going to include some coaching calls and some from my previous course, my Tourism Marketing Success course, because they're golden. They're awesome. Nothing is better than to seeing for yourself exactly what we did with other consulting clients. In fact, Doreen is one of those, where we dug deep into her website and we took it step by step. And we looked at how did we apply those 8 elements in every core page of a website. And it's loaded with stuff you can just swipe away, borrow, copy, and just apply to your website tomorrow. Really good stuff. So this is, you've seen some prices on there. I just want to give you guys some perspective as to, I'm wanting to make this course so strong, so such a great deal that if you guys are serious about increasing your sales, and you're serious about making a commitment to capturing a higher percentage of the leads that are coming to your sales, and going from struggle to more success, this is what this thing's all about. So I want to provide tremendous value and give you guys the support. I don't hardly ever do live training series. So this is really the first time I've done one in a long time. Not the webinar like I'm doing now, but I'm talking about a deep dive where it's all about training, and examples, and supporting you guys in your success. So you're probably wondering, how much is this, Tim? You guys have seen courses out there, not very recently, for well over thousands of dollars, and those are fine. And it's good to get have structure to take to make your business big. But we're going to focus on a very small part, and that's that really important hinge we talked about earlier. The hinge, hinge that swings the biggest, most important door, the one that generates revenues. And so I want to make this super simple for you guys, super easy. 5 easy payments of 85 bucks, $397. You guys proved to yourself earlier what only 10% increase would be worth you. What if you did 5%? What if you did 20%? $397 for the vast majority of you is nothing compared to the return on investment.